as the ferocious-sounding Ford rumbled around the corner. He parked and slid out to open the rear door for Zena with one hand and the front passenger door for Ava, kissing her cheek. "Good morning. Thank you." "You're welcome. Good morning," he replied kindly. As Dalton climbed in, he peered over to catch Ava in mid-sip of his shaker. She froze as if to not be seen or to come up with some explanation. "What's in it?" "Try it. You'll like it. Not like I could stop you anyway." "Oh my gosh, that's delicious. Is that the molten chocolate with the Cellucor one?" "Yeah, with iced Black Rifle coffee and some baby oatmeal." "Oh, it's got carbs added in? That's why it's so good and thick. It's not going to kill you." She felt better seeing his smile. "Did you get any sleep?" "Some." She touched his hand that rested on the gear shift. Being angry at someone or something was difficult enough, but not knowing what to direct his anger at was exhausting. For the moment, both were content to let it go and just be. "Hand me your driver's license," Ava said as they turned left toward the roadway with the sand-filled barriers and the armed troops in camouflage. "What? Oh, so they'll let us in?" "Just drive slow, roll down your window so I can talk." Doing as she instructed, he shrunk back into his racing seat as Ava reached past him with his own license and her government ID. The soldier inspected them glancingly and returned them back, barely acknowledging Dalton's toothy grin. The guard stood at attention and rendered a salute to Captain Stenberg, which she returned. At the same time, Dalton attempted to do the very same. Oh my God, did you really just salute that sergeant?" "No, I can't believe you just did that." "What? Was that a sergeant? I can never tell their rank with the stars, the birds, and the stripy things on their army outfits." "Never speak again. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed." "What do you mean? It can't be that big a deal." "No, he just thinks you're a douche and I'm an idiot for riding with you." "Well, I don't know that guy. He's just G.I. Joe to me. Sorry, Ava." The only words spoken between there and the hospital parking lot were turn-by-turn directions. Once they parked, they sat in silence a moment before Ava couldn't help but laugh beneath her breath at what had actually happened at the gate. "What?" "I still can't believe you thought he was saluting you and you rendered one in return." "What? I thought that's just how you all communicated. Like it's aye and Roger and salutes and stuff." "Salutes and stuff." "I'm sorry, babe. I'm not good at this army stuff all the time." Dalton even glanced in the rearview mirror to see if Zena would weigh in on his faux pas. "You're so damn cute," she said as she pinched his left cheek between her thumb and forefinger. A forced smile with his lips screwed up to the one side was the best he could come up with. Ava blew a kiss to him and pantomimed catching his before turning around to head into the building that looked like every other one around it. Another soldier crossed her path, and she returned yet another salute. Glancing over her shoulder to see if Dalton had seen, he mouthed the words, "I saw that," and then he backtracked the way he'd come in. "Let's go have a day, girl." Throughout the day, Dalton took calls from New York, Seattle, El Paso, and Nashville about projects from commercial voiceovers, print work, and video game action reenactment. He and Zena walked up and down Monument Avenue half a dozen times, playing catch all over Maymont Park, and made their way over to North End Juice Company for an acai bowl and a salad. When the text came through to say that she'd be finished in about an hour, Dalton and Zena loaded up to make their way back to Fort Lee. He remembered to drive slow as he approached the gate. For a moment, Dalton thought maybe it was the same soldier from the morning, presenting his driver's license with ease, and as he'd seen Ava do just hours before, he greeted the guard. "Good afternoon, sir." "I'm no sir. I work for a living." Dalton wasn't sure what to make of the retort, so he laughed nervously. The young troop hand motioned for traffic to stop in the lane to Dalton's right. "Move to the tent area for vehicle check-in." "No, I'm not staying. I'm just picking someone up. I brought Captain Stenberg here this morning, and I just moved to the tent area for vehicle check-in, sir." Dalton read the impatience on the face of the young one giving the order, and the one holding up the line so he could cross over to the fluorescent-lit arched tent structure. "Thanks, Sergeant." As he made his way toward the archway, was all Dalton could think to fire back with. The 20-something specialist just shook his head as the Raptor roared in front of the halted traffic. When he arrived at the pickup location that was the very same as the drop-off that very morning, Dalton tossed a ball for Xena to fetch while they waited for Ava to emerge. Even Xena's behavior seemed more sullen. Dalton concluded that it may have been all the other soldiers around that reminded her of her handler. Shortly after what Dalton thought was a trumpet sound from heaven, Ava made her way out, the heavy glass doors with several manila folders in her left hand. He could tell she had a lot in her mind and attempted to make small talk as they walked toward the low rumble of the Ford pickup. Nervous about what was contained in the files in her arm, Dalton rambled on toward Ava's truck door when he realized music playing loud enough that he looked to Ava for her reaction to it. When Dalton turned to check, he turned to find her several steps behind him, saluting in the same direction as a few other uniformed personnel. "Ava, what is that?" Her extremely large eyes she made in his direction told him that his question would have to wait. Aware that he was clearly not keen to the custom being executed, he quietly turned in the same direction. By rote, he then proceeded to place his right hand over his heart until the final blast sounded. In a flash, Ava was passing him to climb into the truck. "Let's go." "Wait, what was that? It was super weird. 1 second we're talking, the next everybody's frozen like zombies. I didn't know what to do." "That was retreat. Please just drive, Dalton." "Hi, Xena, baby." The winding trip out of the base seemed to take longer than he remembered, especially in silence. Dalton waited until they had cleared the gate to speak a word. "Looks like I'll be in El Paso next week and then NYC shortly thereafter. The casting guy I met the other week knew Barry Shapiro in New York. Decided to go with me for the video game job." No reply was offered. Ava simply stared out of the passenger window. Xena sighed in the back seat. Another attempt was made to break the quiet. "There's an acai bowl in that bag there with a spoon in the bottom of the bag for you. You probably haven't eaten all day." The concept of nourishment found its mark in her psyche as she rummaged through the plastic bag, still without speaking. Dalton activated the right-hand turn signal to take the next exit toward her place. The ticking seemed extraordinarily loud in the vacuum of communication within the truck. It occurred to him how obnoxiously early he had activated it when the long metronome of it droned on, until he finally just switched it off, intending to make the next exit anyhow. When Ava realized the route they were taking, she spoke up. "Let's just go to yours." "You sure?" He glanced over to see her near tears, with the end of a black plastic spoon pursed tightly between her lips. Dalton slowly merged back into the lane, his oversized back tires briefly grazing the rumble strips, causing Xena's ears to perk up. Ava was losing the battle to contain her tears, and she clutched the styrofoam bowl in her lap, unable to look toward Dalton. He reached his hand over onto her left thigh, feeling the contrast and roughness of the material over her skin that was just angel soft beneath the surface. With that gesture, she surrendered to full-on tears. Dalton's compassion and desire to calm her unspoken challenge began turning to frustration for him. He just didn't know what she needed, and that was killing him. Offering to carry Ava's bag for her failed as they parked in the garage. She did, however, plant a kiss on his cheek that pacified him for the moment. At least she allowed him to make his way around the truck to open the door for Xena and herself. With a backpack slung over each of their shoulders, they made their way ahead of Xena to the elevator. Ava quietly offered her outstretched fingers for Dalton to hold as they stood in the lift to his condo. Another tiny kiss found its way onto his face, closer to his mouth this time. His confusion was increasing, but his defenses were fading. What did she need? Folks, every week I enjoy sharing with you chapter by chapter of the upcoming novel 1300 Hours. We've just completed chapter 12 of 13. Now, it's not a coincidence or anything special as far as the number of chapters relating to the title of the book, but I love being able to share this with you in my own voice. If you love it too, please comment. Join the thread of comments on the Dangerous Grounds Network website or Facebook page, whichever you're plugged into. If you're listening to us on Spreaker or SoundCloud after the fact, reach out to our web pages, facebook.com/Dangerous Grounds Network or www.dangerousgrounds.network. or you can find me at the social media pages I spoke about earlier. Doc Collins is the name. I'm your veteran and author of the upcoming novel 1300 Hours, and you've been listening to Patriot Heart Radio, part of the Dangerous Grounds Network. Thank you, and good night.